greatly reduce. If anything's going to be fried, it should be in a animal fat or coconut oil because that's heat tolerant.
Right.
Even olive oil, when you're frying it, you're destroying all those great antioxidants in olive oil, and you're generating trans fats, which are terrible for your blood vessels.
How about having a tablespoon or two of olive oil in your salads?
So one can do that because most people are omega-3 deficient. I push using an omega-3 oil on the salad. A compromise would be to do a 1-to-1 split of the olive oil and the flax oil or walnut oil.
Really?
But key, don't fry with that stuff.
Right.
And the other observation I would make is our traditional societies never used vegetable oils.
That's true.
I don't think they're necessarily good for us. Traditional societies used animal fats, rendered animal fats. They used coconut fats, perhaps a somewhat longer history with olive oil, but societies didn't have all of this vegetable oil stuff. The ratio omega-6 to omega-3 in America is like 30-to-1, 45-to-1. To go to Japan, it's 3-to-1, 1-to-1.
What is the ratio of omega-3 to 6 supposed to be from your view?
1-to-1 or 3-to-1.
Okay.
My advice is go to your cupboard, take all that stuff, throw it away. Or if you're going to use some, put a little bit on your salad. A little bit of oil does help you absorb a number of very helpful nutrients in the greens. So having it on salad dressing, a small amount, perfectly fine. Frying, not a good idea. If you're going to fry, you got to use like bacon fat, tallow, ghee, just clarified butter that doesn't have any of the proteins in it.
So you don't mean regular butter?
Correct. You could use ghee. I actually use bacon fat and coconut oil primarily.
Very interesting. And do you eat eggs every day?
Oh, no, because I'm egg sensitive. Although I'll make eggs for my family. We get some salsa, fry up the eggs, or fry the eggs and put them on a bed of kale chips, which right now is my family's favorite way of having kale chips and having eggs.
You have a dehydrator, right?
Right. You can do kale chips in the oven, and the recipe I have in my book is for oven kale chips. But I'd take the same recipe, put it in a dehydrator, dehydrate them until they're the level of crispiness that you like. And, oh my gosh, they are so good.
And you won't lose the nutrients?
If you dehydrate at 105 degrees or less, you retain all of the enzyme activity, all the nutrient activity. So I consider low-temperature dehydration to be ideal.
Wow, that's great. Talk about your clinical trials. Now, what is happening with this? Are you raising money for this?
Okay,
I know you set up the foundation.
Yes, I'm raising money. So please go to my website, Terry Wahls, actually, the WahlsFoundation.com. There's a link telling you how you can give us money. The clinical trial that we're doing right now is for secondary and primary progressive MS. We are using the same clinical interventions that I used in my first year of my recovery. So that's intensive nutrition. We teach meditation, massage, stretching, exercise, electrical stimulation of the muscles.
You're very big on the electrical stimulation of the muscles for MS.
Well, that was very helpful to me. We're seeing it to be very helpful for the trial. It requires a physical therapist to design a program specific to that individual. And we do that for the exercise. It's very specific to that person. Their eSTEM program is specific to them. We work with them every week to slowly advance things for them. We presented our first 6 months data at the 2011 Neuroscience Conference in Washington, D.C. We were deemed a hot topic, which is a recognition that it is so remarkable to have recovery in setting of progressive MS. And what we were able to report was that there was a quite significant clinically meaningful improvement in fatigue. That fatigue was reduced in 6 of 8 subjects had a clinically notable improvement in their fatigue. That's very exciting. And of course, that further improved as we went out to 12 months. We now have gotten a second grant so we could add MRIs of the brain looking at the white matter or the myelin in the next wave. So we'll be adding 12 more people into the study. I anticipate we'll begin scheduling those folks probably in March. The approvals take a long time. So frustrating, but that's just how it is.
How do you think that the medical industry or culture is going to receive you in the coming years?
Well, we can look at how I've been received at the College of Medicine. When I began to recover, is interesting. The Department of Internal Medicine invited me to give grand rounds. This was a very unique grand round. So there was a case report. I was the case, and I went through the medical literature of why I chose these interventions, and then reviewed my progress. And that generated an interesting conversation. Some people thought it was the most brilliant grand rounds ever, and others thought I was a nut and I should be banished from the college. So a lot of interesting conversation. Then in the year following that, I was able to get my clinical trial going. And of course, medicine likes science. We like research. And the fact that, we'd gotten a trial, I managed to even get it funded, gave me suddenly tremendous credibility. Then we have internal research days. So we're presenting our preliminary findings, and that, of course, generated tremendous interest. So then I started having basic scientists calling me up saying, Dr. Wahls, I understand you have some frozen blood. Let me pitch an idea for you about things we could look for in that blood. So we've added a few more basic scientists to our study.
That's great.
And we're beginning to look at some potential biologic markers that may be changing that we could correlate with people's improvement. Very excited about that. I'm writing grants to fund more of the basic science that we could do on the blood of our study subjects now that we're showing clinical improvement. We'll have Internal Medicine Research Week, I think February 9th or February 7th, one of those 2 days it's coming up. And we'll have a poster and we'll present there. And I am working on an article for our first 6 subjects that we will be hopefully sending off in the next month when we're writing a grant for a couple $1 million to extend this study, do what's called a randomized control. So we'd bring people in, randomize them to either wait 6 months or start the full program. And then at 6 months, the folks who waited, we will cross over to the full program. That way we can show that if you do nothing, people continue to decline or at least don't improve. And when they do the Wahls protocol, we'll be able to show that there's statistically significant improvement or not. I think it's noteworthy when our statistician who's working on the grant with me went through our preliminary data. They came back and said, based on what you've got so far, we'll say that you're powered, you have such a strong effect that we don't need to have 100 people in our arms. We should be able to show a statistical difference with 10. We're going to write the grant for 20, but that is an astoundingly large effect size.
Wow.
Very dramatic.
Very exciting. Why do you think it is that you're not under great attack by the medical priesthood?
Oh, I will be. I will be when I present. I find it fascinating, the conversations that we have afterwards. What gets funded at the NIH is molecule-by-molecule studies. And this is not a molecule-by-molecule study. This is really a systems biology. We fix as much broken chemistry as we can, and then let the ship, that is the body, right itself. So small foundations are funding my work. I don't know if I'll ever get the NIH or the MS Society to fund this kind of work because I'm never going to do the molecule-by-molecule study.
Explain what molecule-by-molecule study is. We control everything that we can, so only one tiny variable exists, one molecule. And so we can do that in mice. We do that with drug studies with people.
so we can see what the effect of adding just